Isang maalab na umaga, grade 11. Narito naman muli ang inyong kaibigang guro sa asignaturang Mathematics ngayong January 25, 2021. Halina't makinig at matuto sa nag-iisang radyo ng pagkatuto. Ito ang nag-iisang 103.9 Radyo Tangguyo, your radio for learning. And this lesson is for grade 11 General Mathematics for quarter 2, module 2. The topic is solving problems involving interest, maturity value, present value of annual simple and compound interest. We have 6 objectives. The first, compute simple interest given the principal amount, rate, and time. Second, compute for the unknown principal amount, rate, and time. Third, compute the maturity or the future value of simple interest. Fourth, compute for the maturity or future value of the compound interest. And fifth, compute for the present value of the compound interest. And last, we have solve problems involving interest. Let us start first with annual simple interest. The simple interest is calculated on the principal amount or original amount of money. From the word simple, this means that the interest can be earned is directly from the principal amount invested or borrowed. So we have the formula for annual simple interest. I sub s is equal to P times R times T, where I sub s is our simple interest, and the capital letter P is our principal amount, the R is our interest rate, and the T is the time or term or duration of investment in years. The first example, finding the interest. So the problem is a bank offers 0.25% annual simple interest rate for a particular deposit. How much interest will be earned if 1 million pesos is deposited in the savings account for 1 year? So the solution, the given in the problem is the principal, which is 1 million. So our P here is 1 million. And also the 0.25% for the rate, that is 0.0025 if you're going to convert it into decimal form. And the time is equivalent to 1 year. So let us find the simple interest. So we have simple interest is equivalent to the principal times rate times time. So substitute the value of our P, R, and T. We have 1 million. P is 1 million times R, the rate is 0.0025, times the time, which is 1, and then we have the interest earned is 2,500. So that is how are you going to find the interest earned in a particular deposit. Let's have another problem. That is example number 3 from your module. The problem is, how much interest is charged when you borrowed 50,000 for 9 months at an annual interest rate of 10%? So the given is P, or the principal, is 50,000, and R for the rate of 10%. So the 10%, to convert into decimal form, that is equivalent to 0.1, and the time is 9 months. So 9 months, if you're going to convert it into years, that is 9/12. In this problem, the given time is only 9 months. So hindi siya umabot ng 1 year. Pag hindi umabot ng 1 year, what are you going to do is to convert it by dividing the given months by 12. So for example, we have here 9 months. So that is equivalent to 9/12 years. So magiging fraction na yung time natin. So we are going to find the simple interest or the I sub s. So we have here the formula for IS. I sub s is equivalent to P times R times T. So the principal is 50,000. So substitute lang natin the value of principal, which is 50,000, times the rate, that is 10%. So in decimal form, that is 0.1. And then the time is 9 months. Since hindi umabot siya ng 1 year, the 9 months is i-divide lang natin into 12 because in a year there are 12 months. So that becomes 9 over 12 years. So if you're going to multiply 50 times 0.1 times 9 and then divide it by 12, then we get the simple interest is equivalent to 3,750. So yung answer natin here is the interest earned is 3,750 pesos. Next, finding the unknown principal, rate, and time. So yung kanina, ang hinanap natin is the interest or the simple interest. So what if the unknown is the principal value or the rate or the time? So ano yung formula gagamitin natin? So we are just going to derive the unknown principal amount, rate, and time using the simple interest formula. So this is our basis. Simple interest or I sub s is equal to PRT. Now, if P or the principal ang hahanapin natin in the problem, so we are going to have the basis formula natin is 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 equal to P times R times T. So if you're going to find the P here, all you have to do is to divide both sides of this equation by R and T. So we will get on the other side of the equation is P equal to IS over RT. So ibig sabihin, the principal, if you're going to get the value of the principal, the formula that you are going to use is P equals simple interest over the rate times time. Okay, so i-divide lang natin yung amount ng simple interest natin into rate times time to get the principal amount. And next, the formula if rate or R is unknown. So if you don't know the rate, so what are we going to do is to derive the original formula, which is I sub s is equivalent to P times R times T. So to get the R, divide lang natin both sides of this equation into P and T. So para ang maiiwan natin is R na lang. So we have 1 over PT times IS is equivalent to PRT times 1 over P over T. So i-divide natin both sides by P and T. So we have R is equivalent to IS or I sub S divided by principal amount times time. So the rate formula, the formula if rate is unknown, R is equivalent to the I sub S or the simple interest over or divided by the principal times the time. And the formula if time or T is unknown. So same, we're going to derive the original formula, which is IS, I sub S is equivalent to P or T. So if T is unknown, just divide both sides of the equation by P and R. So to get the T on the other side of the equation, and then we have IS or I sub S divided by the principal times rate. So if the time is the unknown, so all you have to do is to divide IS to the principal, the product of the principal and the rate. T equals I sub S divided by P times R. So that this is the formula if the time is unknown. Okay, we are going to use that later on in the problem. Now let's proceed to example number 4. We are going to complete the table below. So we have in the first column, letter A is unknown or the principal. So we are going to solve for problem letter A in the first row, given the rate which is 2.5%. Our time here in years, that is 4 years, and the interest is 1,500. Okay, letter A, the unknown is the principal. So a while ago, we have derived the formula, the original formula, which is I sub S is equivalent to P times R times T. So if the unknown is the principal, the formula that we are going to use is P is equal to I sub S divided by the product of the R and T. So substitute the value of the given interest, which is 1,500, then divide it by the product of the rate and time, which is 2.5% times time, which is 4. So we have 2.5% in decimal form, that is equivalent to 0.025. Then multiplied by 4, which is our time. Then we get P is equivalent to 15,000. So meaning the principal amount is 15,000. So after 4 years, the interest becomes 1,500 with the rate of 2.5%. So that's it. Now letter B, the unknown rate can be obtained by, so in the letter B, that is in the second row, so rate is the unknown. Rate is B. For letter B, the rate is the unknown. Given the principal amount, which is 36,000, the time is 1.5, that is 1.5 years. And then the interest, which is 4,860. This is the interest gained for 1 year and 6 months with a principal of 36,000. So we want to know what is the rate. So the unknown rate can be obtained by, the formula is R is equivalent to I sub S divided by the product of the principal and the time. So let's substitute the given values. IS, we have 4,860 divided by the product of the principal and the time. The principal is 36,000 times the time, which is 1.5. So 4,860 divided by 36,000 times 1.5, or the product of 36,000 and 1.5. Then you will get 0.09, or in percent, that is equivalent to 9%. So meaning with the principal of 36,000 and the rate is 9%, in 1.5 year, or 1 year and 6 months, the interest will be 4,860 if the rate is 9%. Now let's move on to letter C. Now for letter C, that is in row 3, the unknown is the time. So this can be calculated by T is equivalent to the interest, which is IS, divided by P times the rate. So our interest is 275 divided by the product of our principal, which is 250,000 times 0.5%. To convert 0.5% to decimal form, we have 0.005. So 0.005, that is equivalent to 5%. Now the T here is equivalent to 275 divided by the product of 250, and 0.005 is 1,250. Now if you're going to divide this, we will get 0.22 or 22%. That is now our time. So yun lang gagawin natin. We will use the derived formula and then substitute the value. Letter D, row 4, the unknown here is the interest. Given the time, which is 10 years, the rate is 12.5%, and the principal is 500,000. So the formula is The simple interest or I sub S is equivalent to P times R times T. So, multiply lang natin yung principal times the rate times time. So, we have principal which is 500,000 times the rate which is 0.125. So, 12.5% in decimal form, you have 0.125 times 10 years, that is per hour time. So, the product is equivalent to 625,000. So, for your 500,000 in 10 years with 12.5%, then the interest is 625,000. The simple interest is 625,000 for 10 years. Now, let's proceed to lesson 1.3, solving for the maturity or the future value. The maturity or future value denoted by the letter F, that is capital letter F, of the simple annual interest can be obtained by adding the principal P amount and the interest which is I sub S. So refer to the equation below. We have F is equivalent to the P, which is the principal, plus the simple interest which is I sub S. So substituting the I sub S by the PRT gives us the F is equivalent to P plus PRT. So yung formula natin kanina, I sub S or the annual interest is equivalent to PRT. So if you're going to multiply the principal times rate times time, that is equivalent to the interest or the simple annual interest. So we can substitute here in the original formula, which is F is equivalent to P plus I sub S. Yung I sub S, pwede natin i-substitute or palitan ng PRT. So, since equal lang man yan sila dalawa. So, we're going to factor using the common monomial factor. That becomes F is equivalent to P times the sum of 1 and R times rate. So, 1 plus RT times the P. So, the F is the maturity future value. The P is the principal. The R is the rate. And the T is time. Now, let's have example number 5. Find the maturity value of 100,000 is deposited in a bank at an annual simple interest of 1.5% after letter A, after 1 year, and letter B, after 3 years. So for 100,000, so you are going to find the maturity value. So deposited in a bank at an annual interest of 1.5%. So we are going to use the formula. So given is P is equivalent to 100,000. The rate is 1.5%. That is in decimal is equivalent to 0.015. And the time is 1 year. So letter A is 1 year. So F, that is the future, the maturity value. So the P is 100,000 times 1 plus the rate is 0.015 times 1. So the product is 101,500. So this is the future value after 1 year. Now next is letter B. How about in 3 years? So papalitan lang natin yung time. Kanina 1 year. Now we will change it into 3 kasi for 3 years na. Now F is equivalent to 100,000 times 1 plus the rate which is 0.015%, that is 15% times 3. So we will get the future value after 15 years is 104,500. So ganun lang siya kadali mag-solve ng future value. Basta tandaan lang natin kung ano yung kailangan natin gamitin na formula. Then substitute lang yung mga given. So substitute lang natin sa formula then to get the value of the unknown. Maraming salamat sa pakikinig grade 11. Naway marami kayong natutunan sa ating aralin ngayong araw ng Lunes, January 25, 2021 sa asignaturang Mathematics. Bago tayo magtapos, nais ko punang batiin ang lahat ng aking mga estudyante na nakikinig ngayong oras na ito, lalong-lalo na sa grade 11, Yunes, Osmeña. At sa mga parents, at sa mga kapatid nilang naggabay sa kanilang pag-aaral. So maraming salamat po sa pakikinig ngayon. Paalam!